Thursday night college football on national TV. It's the standalone ESPN game this Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern. Army at East Carolina. I do think there's a good betting opportunity in this game. Free play, free pick with analysis coming up right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV. And as I always say, the short week, whether it's the NFL Thursday night game, and by the way, check out the Seahawk Cardinal video. I do have a free play in that game for you as well here on Wager Talk TV. But as I mentioned in my weeknight videos that I do each and every week here for you, that the short week normally favors the home team because both teams have only 3 or 4 days of rest. Road team loses a day with travel, but it also favors the better team because on short preparation, the more talented team usually has the edge because you can't matchup plan as much to negate it. That's not necessarily the case in this game. On the surface, the odds makers and the betting public are saying East Carolina is the better team. They opened as a 3-point favorite, which is saying these two teams are pretty equal when you factor in home field in the short week. But the money quickly came in on Army. It's now up to 5.5. I even see some 6s out there at the sharper book. So it has been a sharp money move on East Carolina, and I get it. They've looked really good so far this season. But the situational handicap, I think, favors Army, even though normally it would be a terrible spot coming off an overtime loss and having to travel with just 4 days of rest and recovery. The matchup here, though, is favors Army because they're a triple option attack, and teams normally struggle with limited time to prepare. And East Carolina has not shown the ability in recent years to play well against the service academies that run this attack. In fact, they were 0-2 straight up and against the spread last year against both Army and Navy. And of course, that Army loss came right about the middle of the season, and it led to the firing of the head coach. Blake Harrell takes over as the interim head coach. He ends up finishing, 5-1, I believe, straight up his last 6. Gets the head coaching job. And he's now at the helm. And as I said earlier, they're off to a nice start this season. There's no question about it. Even though they're 2-2 straight up, they're 3-1 against the spread. Narrow loss against NC State in week 0. Blowout wins against Campbell and Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina went on the road, somewhat impressive. But then a bad loss last week against BYU by 21 at home. It's just a 6.5-point dog. And that's the one game in which they did struggle to stop the run finally, giving up 172 rushing yards after barely giving up that many. In fact, they only gave up 181 yards in the first 3 games combined. So I do think Army will have success running this ball. And as I said, normally it's a terrible spot coming off a high-scoring overtime loss. They were a slight home dog against North Texas in that 45-38 setback last week. But they also had a 3-1 turnover deficit. In fact, this season, Army's just 1-2 straight up and against the spread, but they have 6 turnovers lost and only 1 forced. That's going to probably even out a bit. Meanwhile, East Carolina's been very fortunate. They forced 8 turnovers, and that blowout at Coastal Carolina was a 5-1 turnover edge, which made the score a little more misleading than it really was. Point is, I think ECU's not quite as good as they've looked. I think Army might be better, and although it doesn't look like a good scheduling spot with travel off the overtime game, they are a service academy. These military guys travel well. They're always anxious to get away from the academy, so I think it's less of a factor here. But the main part to this handicap and why I like Army plus the 5.5, or maybe even more if this line continues to climb, is having limited time to prepare for the triple option. And once again, East Carolina has struggled to stop it in recent years. And while there's a coaching change, not really, because Blake Harrell was at the helm in that late loss to Navy last year. And he's also been the linebacker or defensive coordinator coach for the past 5 seasons at East Carolina. So let's go back a little further and see how they did. Last year, they lost by 17 at Army, gave up a ton of rushing yards, also lost outright as a 3-point favorite by 14 to Navy. So Harrell didn't do too well in that game last year. The year before, they got shut out 10-0 as a small dog at Navy. And if you go back even further from that, they lost outright as a 16.5-point favorite 3 seasons ago by 3 points. And the year before that, they only won by 3 points as a 3.5-point favorite. So they haven't covered any of the last 4 years. They're 0-5 ATS since the COVID year against Navy and Army that run this triple option. Harrell's been at the helm defensively for every one of those games. I don't think anything changes here in the short week. I disagree with this money move, and I think there's now some value with Army at plus 5.5, and we'll see. Maybe we'll get more 6s by kickoff on Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Hey, that's how I'm looking at this game. What are your thoughts? Drop them in the comments below. I do truly read the comments and I reply back. Love the support, and if you're liking the free play videos, all I ask seriously is a thumbs up. It takes 2 seconds each and every video to click that thumbs up. You did it right now while I was talking, and I appreciate it because that keeps this content free and plentiful right here on Wager Talk TV. By the way, if you want to make sure you never miss out on a free play video, when you subscribe, click the bell as well here on Wager Talk TV for a free alert which includes my college football top 25 video this weekend, and of course my NFL Fade the Public video for all of Sunday's games. Got over 28,000 views on that last weekend. Really do appreciate the support here on Wager Talk TV. And don't forget, I also do all the Thursday night prime games, including this week's Seahawks-Cardinals game. So be sure to watch that after this video as well for a free NFL play. And I usually do the Sunday and Monday night games as well. In fact, we got a Monday night doubleheader, which I'll have up in a video later this weekend. Click that bell for an instant alert so you never miss out when you subscribe for free here on Wager Talk TV. Hey, speaking of free plays, I post a bonus free play on my page every day on the website at wagertalk.com, my personal page, Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. And it's a very simple process. If I have a best bet that I'm personally using, I send it to all my paid subscribers. It's only fair. Whether it's a 1 day, a 1 month, 1 year subscription, everybody gets the exact same plays each day. They're the exact same plays I'm personally using. But I'm very selective. Maybe 2 to 3 best bets per day on average for all sports, which means that last cut is still a pretty strong opinion. So what do? I put it up for free for everybody to see each and every day. So whether you're new to handicapping, new to sports betting, still building your bankroll, doing your own handicapping, make it a daily part of your routine to go to my page and get that bonus free play, including the one that's up there right now, Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. And while you're there, check out the best bets I have. Check out the special offers, including a really nice promo code this week for an instant 30% discount on any all-access pass. And that can be a 1 day, a 1 week, up to a 1 year. You get 30% off the normal price at checkout when you use promo code ACCESS30, ACCESS30, ACCESS30. Couldn't be any simpler. An instant 30% discount. That includes the 1 day all access, which is normally $39. Get about $10 off of that. That gets it down to the price of like one play for everything. Of course, the weekly, monthly, and seasonal packages, you're going to save even more and get that cost of plays down to about as low as a couple dollars a play. And when you use promo code ACCESS30 this week, 30% off any all-sport pass that you want to get right now. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. And by the way, promos, special offers are all written out in full detail on my page. You don't have to memorize them here in the video. Just go to my page, check out the free play, and check out the special offers and best bets. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. And hey, get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. On the way out, don't forget to follow me on social media at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, Merril, at Steve Merril on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you know there's more free play videos, including the Thursday night prime game between the Cardinals and Seahawks, coming up next.